Welcome to the Rustic Garden Homestead. Today I want to show you how to make your own soil for your garden beds, containers, whatever you need. It's the cheapest way to make it. I'm going to show you a way to make it for free, and then I'll talk about some amendments you can buy just in case you don't have access to compost. I'm in a process of getting my homestead ready for a wedding that's coming up. My son's going to be getting married here, and as I'm fixing up the different areas, I'm taking a lot of edgings, a lot of soil from right behind me is my gazebo, and I'm just going to throw it into a wheelbarrow. Most of the time we kind of throw it away, or we just stick it somewhere we're not going to use. It's the perfect base to make any kind of soil you need for your garden. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is what we call really good stuff. It's beautiful. I made it myself. When you squeeze it, it breaks up really easily. Again, throw in a little more compost, a little more peat moss. Tweak it as you need. The cheapest way to fill your garden beds and containers is to use the earth around your property. I'm in the process of cleaning up my gazebo area, and I just dug a trench along here so that when it rains, the water will go down there and it doesn't wash the mulch over, and I'll have some depth to keep the mulch in place. But I just dug out the edge all the way down here, and you'll be surprised how much this edge really gives you in the way of some great earth to make your different mixes with. Took it all the way down to here. I could go a little bit deeper, but just by taking edgings from around your property, you could have plenty of earth to make your own mixes for your garden. Let me show you how much I got out of this space. Filling your raised beds and containers is really one of the most expensive parts of vegetable gardening. In the video description, I will link some videos that talk about the bag products you buy at stores. Please watch them, it'll save you a lot of money. A lot of them are rip-offs, and I really go over what's in these products. And I'll link a few videos on making your own soil, like what I'm doing today, but a little bit more detailed. This is all the earth that came out of just doing the edging along my gazebo. This is filled with earth. Earth is clay, silt, sand, microbes, organic matter, all the good stuff your garden needs. You don't need to buy specialized fertilizers with like microbes in there to jumpstart your garden. Everything you need is right here. Now, when I talk about making soil, I kind of look at about how much is in here, and you can start with 50% earth. It's kind of equal parts. The ratios don't have to be exact, but you could do 50% earth and then put in about 50% of compost right in here. Mix it together. You can use that for really anything. You can use it for your earth beds, your raised beds, your containers. It's going to have everything you need. And if you make your own compost, like I'll show you in a second, like I do, it's practically free. It's your labor, a little bit of effort. Because you're using so much compost in here, you don't have to buy organic granular fertilizer. You don't have to buy any dry fertilizers at all to put in here. The soil is going to have enough just from taking 50% earth, and I would go ahead and drop in, this is my leaf compost. I would just eyeball it and do 50% leaf compost, or and I do understand everybody doesn't have the space to compost. These are all my compost stations, and these crazy growing tomatoes are all growing out of the compost. Everything you see there, and that's really only about 4 plants, growing from the compost, not fed any additional fertilizers, not watered, not taken care of. The compost is really fueling all that growth. So I would go ahead, and if I was going to do the 50-50 mix, I would do 50% compost, 50% of the earth from the edgings, mix it together, use it wherever you want. Now, you may not have a whole lot of compost. In that case, I would try and do 25% compost, and then 25% peat moss. Peat moss will be an expense that you do have to pay for it. And you just mix it in to the mix here. Let's just I'll be probably putting in a couple more shovelfuls of the leaf grow. But it's going to be 50% earth in this mix right here. Half of that, 25% compost, and then half of this, again, 25% peat moss. Mix it all together. The peat moss will really hold water. That's a great mix for your containers. and you're only paying for the peat moss, which is the cheapest way to really buy bag products is to buy peat moss and then, make it yourself. If you didn't have access to compost, you could do 50% earth, 50% peat moss, mix it together and use it as you wish. You will probably have to add in some organic granular fertilizer just to give the soil a little bit of fertilizer. But you can use water-soluble fertilizers to manage, feeding your plants. That's a subject of another video. If you want to subscribe and follow me. Let me set this up for doing the 50% earth, 25% compost, 25% peat moss. I just want to show you how nice it looks, and the cost in this case is just for that amount of peat moss. Everything else was free. Here's the basic mix: 50% earth, 25% leaf compost, in this case could be any kind of compost, 25% peat moss. Peat moss comes in 1 cubic foot, 2 cubic foot, 3 cubic foot bales, just like that. It's a little bit more expensive nowadays than it used to be, but it still is the cheapest way to really make your own soil. Just real quick, what I do recommend, if you can make your own compost, 50% compost, 50% of the earth, and then I'm just going to mix it up, show you what it looks like. Once mixed, it's going to look something like this. You squeeze it, breaks up nicely. If you feel like you have heavy clay soil and it's, compacting a little bit too much, add in a little bit more compost, or you could go ahead and, of course, add in the peat moss. But this is a great growing medium that is, essentially free if you're making your own compost and taking your edging. So another great mix, what I just showed you, 50, 25, 25. Let me mix it all together. This is what we call really good stuff. You can't buy any bag product that has quality like this. Plenty of compost, nice and loose. When you squeeze it, it breaks up really easily. If you felt like you needed to add more compost or more peat, amend it, tweak it. The 50-50 or the 50-25-25 is just a guideline. Add in additional stuff if you need to. But this is absolutely perfect. You can use it in containers, raised bed, planting holes, however you want to use it. This would easily cost you $25 to $45 if you were buying it in a bag, and you're not going to get the quality like this. When you buy bag products, it doesn't really have a whole lot of earth in there. You want that silt, the clay, the sand, the microbes, the organic matter in your soil. You don't want just those bag products. They're mostly peat moss anyway, so just buy the peat moss, make it yourself. And as fellow gardeners, I know you can just spend time, putting your hand through quality stuff like this. I mean, it's perfect. If you want to save money, this is the way to fill your containers, your raised beds, etc. I will also link some videos in the video description on making your own compost. If you have the space, I really recommend getting started now. You don't have to do anything elaborate like that. You can just start with a simple pen setup, 4 feet by 4 feet, throw in all your debris. You can use a trash can. I just put leaves in here every year. It takes about 12 months for it to really break down. But within a year or two, you're gonna have plenty of compost. Get started now, you'll have it in the future, and you can make beautiful stuff just like this. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. I sell tomato and pepper seeds for $1.75 a pack. All other seeds are only $1.50. Please subscribe. I'll show you what I do with this in 2026, and I will take you through the whole process of vegetable gardening in real time. Thanks again for watching.